Hey everyone. I'm actually kind of surprised that I have this review for you. Um, but we'll get right into it. As because you could even see what the character is going to be on the picture. I am reviewing the Star Wars: The Black Series, Revenge of the Sith, Anniversary, Tactical Ops Trooper, or let's be for real here, a 501st Trooper. But I believe that's what they called these clones like originally, and then obviously they later were changed to like 501st, but it is obviously just a 501st trooper, which is why I want him. I grew up in the Clone Wars and the prequels, and the 501st are the most famous clones of the bunch. And yeah, so let's take a look at this cool packaging. So you got the Darth Vader mask, the lava of Mustafar, the clone there. You got Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. You even got, it's kind of hard to see because of the angle I have, but you got Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting on the back. You got a picture of him up top and a picture of him there, and then it has a bio saying celebrate the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith with figures from the Black Series featuring commemorative packaging. And reality, he is the only one that I really wanted from this commemorative packaging. I believe the only other one I saw was the Magna Guard. Well, I never saw the Magna Guard in person, but the Magna Guard would be the other one. So let's get him out here. So here he is. Let's take a look at his accessories, but this is they're very brief accessories. First of all, he comes with a carbine. I don't remember, I'm losing the names off the blasters themselves off the top of my head, but got the carbine, and then you got the heavier rifle here. Pretty standard. And then, of course, he comes with his helmet, which I will honestly. So before we put it on, we'll take a look. It's got a pretty good likeness to Tamara Morrison. It's pretty standard. Not any specific clone. I am honestly so. One of my biggest hopes is that they will eventually do like the specific members of the 501st. I'm talking fives, heavy, tup. I would even take a dogma, kicks, and so many others. Like I really hope they do more. But it's also just cool to have just like a random, like a standard version of the 501st to go along with one day, hopefully having the whole. Oh wow, I never noticed that. I know it's kind of jumping ahead, but I was kind of wondering why, because I've been posing him around. I never realized that both of his hands are up and down hands. That's kind of neat. But anyways, the only complaint I really have on my figure is that they got like a little bit of this. I don't know if it was like from here or some. I don't know what paint this was, but it actually gets quite hidden well with the helmet on, and obviously. There you go. So I do believe this is a newer body, but I don't know how much newer, because it's not like, as you can probably tell, it's not like Star Wars Black Series has been my biggest priority as much, and that's partly because I'm very picky, because I want very specific characters, and I don't always I rarely see them in person. So, but you got the standard 501st look. You got all the blue markings. You got some battle damage, and typical clone looks. Like for example, what I mean by a newer body that I don't know if I've messed with or not is this piece is separate here. This top piece here. So, yeah, helmet looks good. And it cuts an excellent silhouette here. Both the leg and the knee are rotatable, but blue all over. I mean, it's a clone. What do you expect? So we'll get into articulation here. And obviously, again, I mean, I already talked about like my background. It's just I love all the clones, and the 501st are obviously the most well known. So of course I want them. So, but his head can look up. It can look a little bit more up and down without the helmet, but look that far down, look side to side, and it's got tilt. But my thought is that most people are obviously going to have it with the helmet on. So his arm can stick out that far, and it can rotate a whole 360 degrees. I'm just not going to do that. You got a bicep swivel and a Oh, no, it is a bicep swivel. Oh. Oh, interesting. It's just a really large single joint elbow. It technically could go further, but be careful. You got this piece here. You got a single jointed elbow, wrist swivel, and a hinge up and down on both sides. Okay. Diaphragm joint that allows them to go that far back, that far forward, side, swivel. Got a leg that kicks out about that far, kicks up about that far, back about that far. It got upper thigh swivel. Then this knee pad can rotate as a side note, and the lower leg can also swivel. He's got a single jointed knee, and his ankle could go down and go up, and got ankle pivot. So now I'm going to get him posed up with one of the rifles here, because the only two characters that I brought down to compare to, I really want him to look cool next to. So give me 1 second here. Okay, now that he's all stood up, let's get him next to another 501st member, though it's technically a subdivision called the 332nd. And as you can see, like, if you look at the details, they are actually different, at least the battle damage wise. It is a little different. But the markings are all almost pretty much the same. Of course, this one you can't remove the helmet. But the next one, I want him standing next to you. And I do have him in an action pose. But shouldn't matter because I have their Jedi Commander here. And that just looks awesome. Actually, I think what I should do, I should put Anakin in the middle. Yeah, that looks awesome. That looks amazing. So, it's kind of ironic. I still don't have a Rex, but I hope they do a redo of the Phase 2 version of Rex. They did a Phase 1 version of Rex, but I want a Phase 2 version of Rex with the updated articulation and stuff like that, which I imagine they'll do soon, because my guess is they'll just use the Rex they just did for the Ahsoka series and just put the Phase 2 helmet over it. Honestly, I know that some people would say that's not exactly accurate, which is true, but they could have just like given us both helmets and we could have just had both at the same time. So, but like I said, I hope we get more of the Legion. I hope we get like more of the named troopers. Technically, I have Echo. That would be the other one. But yeah, it is. I certainly can't wait to see what else they do. I'm always down for more clones because I grew up in that era. So I'm also very surprised, like I said, that I was able to do this, because the Walmart that I usually go to is very scarce with certain things. So the fact that there was one of these guys here is awesome. So yeah. Plus, like I said, I always like adding more clones to the collection. So the prequels are obviously my priority, if you couldn't tell. But I think I'm going to end on this frame. If you did enjoy this video, like, share, and subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Sorry this was a bit shorter, but to be fair, not something that if you collected Star Wars Black Series, it's not like it's entirely new. So, but I will see you in the next one. Hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later. I hope you have a great day, night, or afternoon, everybody. Peace.